In today's video, we're going to discuss how to incorporate Bitcoin into our passive income strategy. We already earn over $100,000 per year in dividends at this channel, as you know, and we're also outperforming the market. We are up 32% for the year, we'll call it. The Dow's up 3, the SP's up 15, and the Nasdaq's up 32%. So the Nasdaq is beating us by a hair, and that's because we've sold out of growth names recently to manage risk at the highs. You've seen that my margin debt has fallen because we also use some margin to get this income. So that 100,000 that you saw in income, that 100,000 per year in dividends, I use a combination of high yielding dividend vehicles and margin. So for every $1 you put in your account, you get $4 of purchasing power, this number here. So I just use a fraction of that. If you need help using margin to live financially free and get ahead, email me for my e-guides at aikentodd48@gmail.com. Today's video is on Bitcoin and how to still get exposure to that asset class without losing precious income. Because at this channel, again, all I care about is income and performance. I link all of my investments to the indexes generally. So I want that performance, but also I want the income. You don't want just income. You have to have best of both worlds, income and performance. Some passive income channels I know just promote dividends and not performance, and that doesn't really get you ahead. That gets you to a break even almost, because some people are down 10% for the year or 15%. Maybe they're down maybe only 5%, but the market's up 30%. So you can't just collect dividends and be down for the year. You have to get best of both worlds. Bitcoin is a way to do that. So I own BITO right here, BITO, and it's because of its large dividend, okay? I was approached by a subscriber for this fund, and I'm very lucky that they gave me this idea. So BITO, I have only 1,000 in it so far, and I really like it. I'm up 15%. I've been waiting to do a video on BITO, but I'm trying to figure out more about this fund, okay? Because as you can see, it has a 22% dividend according to E-Trade, 22%. But the stats vary as you go from different websites like E-Trade, 22%. If you go to Seeking Alpha, you'll see it looks like here I saw 9%. Let me see. Let me scroll up. Dividend rate, it says 9%, 8.96 here on the bottom right. Dividend yield, I can't zoom in there, 8.96. Yield 8.96, bottom right there, bottom right. So you got E-Trade saying 22. You have Seeking Alpha saying 8% roughly. So I went in and did my own math, and my math came out to about $2,900 on 10,000 invested, which is about a 29% yield. I simply did 10,000 divided by the share price, which, as you know, for BITO, 1741. So 1741, 10,000 divided by 1741 equals 574 shares. And then you do the payout of 0.42 cents. So times 0.24. Let me make sure I got that number right. Times 0.427. So times 0.427 equals that times 12 months. We're at 2,900 on 10,000 invested. So you tell me if you get different math. In my channel, I'm not concerned about the exact dividend rate. I remember working for Seeking Alpha, and I got that stat wrong once because E-Trade quoted the wrong yield. And I got just destroyed by Seeking Alpha comments. And that's not my job here. You guys have your own money, do your own math here, but I'm getting 22% on E-Trade, 9% on Seeking Alpha. I can't check everyone's quotes, and I just did the math for you myself, and I got 29%. Now, I don't know if that's going to last. It seems like they get their yields off of their treasuries. So if we go here to their holdings, you can see, first of all, this is their dividend rates. Each month they've steadily increased almost, it looks like, from 0.14 to 0.10, a little drop there, but then 0.46, 0.417, and 0.42. So staying consistent between the 40-cent range here in the last few months. It's a pretty high dividend. And if you look at their holdings, they have yes, Bitcoin futures, which to me is an advantage because because they don't own the asset outright, which can be confiscated and there are, opaque issues, transparency issues with Bitcoin. So they just own the futures, which to me, again, is a nice way to do it. They don't have to deal with regulation on different crypto exchanges. So they own Bitcoin futures, but they also have treasury bills, which is giving it its yield, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I don't believe they sell covered calls. I'm looking on their prospectus. I don't see anything on it. Again, to me, I'm going to share with you why none of that matters. To me, I'm just trying to get an asset class because you need performance. And Bitcoin is an asset class. Just like the 10 sectors of the S&P, Bitcoin is considered to be a new asset class. And you need to have 3 to 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, some professionals say. So I'm playing BITO. I also have some sold puts on Bitcoin with Mara here and Riot. So I have different ways. These lowered my margin. Riot, I got paid, let's see, $500 times 3 contracts. So $1,500 on Riot, and Mara I got paid $1,200. So about $3,000 in premiums I received from just selling Bitcoin options, and that lowered my margin. Again, if you need help using margin, email me at akintodd48@gmail.com for my margin e-guides. This is how I live financially free. This debt does not show up on a credit report. I can click sell at any time, and my dividends of over $100,000 per year pay back this margin in less than 3 years. I've also gotten my margin down significantly recently since the market's at the highs. I've been telling you, I've been unloading a lot of my growth assets. So let me just show you a quick chart of the NASDAQ. As Bitcoin goes, so does the NASDAQ in a lot of situations, because Bitcoin is a growth metric. Bitcoin is a growth, what's the word I'm thinking of? A barometer, okay, for growth. So as risk gets put on, Bitcoin is a risk on signal. So that means that growth and small caps benefit. I think Bitcoin trades more like a small cap instead of growth, because look at this chart from Tech. It's had an absolute monster breakout. QQQ is almost back at the highs. So this is something I was kind of wary of, and so I've been unloading my shares here, trying to manage risk, because you can't just, yes, you could have had that margin on, you could have kept it on, and the dividends would just pay back the margin. You don't have to trade in time. But if you can see an opportunity to time a little bit and get out of the market, why not? Look, we've surpassed the August highs, okay? We've had a monster run. We're overbought. We're coming off of overbought levels. The MACD looks like it's crossing blue into the red. So these are all signs of a top, a short-term top, and I'm looking for 350 as my entry point, or 325 as my next entry point. I'm not saying we'll get there. We could even move higher. I've seen Tech do crazier things and go right back to the old highs of 400. So I'm kind of on the fence as to what's happening, but even on a max time limit, we're overbought. So on well, that's a 3-year chart. On a max time frame, we're getting near overbought. We have from 60 to 80 before we're overbought. So then the MACD crossed to the upside there. So there could be some further upside left in tech stocks, but I'm just not sure, and I have a lot of margin on. And you don't want to get caught when growth is rotating to value. You don't want to get caught with a lot of leverage there. So I'm using Bitcoin as one of those techniques to get my performance. I also use Cornerstone up here, guys. Everyone knows I have Cornerstone. I have 400 grand in this fund, and that's how I get a 21% yield and get my income up to such high levels. But it's a 4-star fund, and it's a great fund, but it drops on its rights offerings. So please be aware before you buy this fund to investigate the rights offerings, because as you can see on the chart, it goes down over time, but it's beat the S&P over time, and that's because, again, it has rights offerings that you have to learn how to play, and it drips its dividends at the NAV. The share price here of $8, I know all my subscribers are well aware of this fund, but to all the newcomers here at this channel, look, 649 here, the drip, 706, 679, 671. These look like random numbers, 650.40, but look, 25% gain. 671 here, 22% gain. Where else can we go? Look at all these drip shares at the NAV. We have 658, 24% gain. Okay, so this is the advantage of Cornerstone. It drips its 21% dividend at the NAV, but you have to learn how to play it right. That's where I get a lot of my performance. Email me for my e-guides on how to play Cornerstone at akintodd48@gmail.com if you're interested in playing that. So we've unloaded in a lot of growth names. We've taken a lot of margin debt off. We're at 275,000 in debt now. We're at 235,000 roughly. So about 40 grand of margin we've dumped at 4 gains at the highs of this market. The market could go higher, but I'm not sure. That's why I'm not putting a full position in BITO. Also, BITO is not the indexes. It's just an asset class that you need. So here, BITO, once again, I'm going to go into the chart. It was up 2.5% on Friday. It's been a strong mover. Look at where it was off its highs. It was at 40, now it's at 20. So this is moving more like small caps in my opinion. If you go to a small cap chart, I bet you'll see a similar pattern. IWM, go, and we'll see here that IWM has not had the run up that growth and tech has had. See, we've had somewhat of a move here, but not anything like growth and the Qs. So I think that risk on still has another leg. If tech can stay up and the market can stay strong, then small cap should catch up because they're the last asset class to catch up. And risk on assets like Bitcoin could benefit. But as the market goes, so does risk go. So if the S&P starts falling and the NASDAQ starts falling because they're at extended highs, then you want to be wary of these growth assets. But pile in on the growth assets when the market's at the lows, obviously. And for Bitcoin, I'm not going to pile into this one because you shouldn't have more than 3 to 5% of your assets in Bitcoin. So if I have a $400,000 account, I should have no more than, let's say 3% of that. 1% of 400,000 is 4. So I should have no more than 12 grand of BITO. I have 1 grand in here for BITO, and then I have 3 grand. Let's see, Mara, I have $20 strike price, so 2,000 there, and Riot $10, but three contracts. So I have 3,000 of Riot, 2,000 of Mara, 5,000 and 1,000 of BITO. So I'm halfway where I should be to get my 3% allocation of Bitcoin. People think you need to have this asset class. You know, they don't trust the government, they don't trust currency, they don't trust inflation. But I got to tell you, it didn't save you at all during 2022. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin. I'm just a fan of asset classes and proper diversification and performance of my channel to get my income safely. I want to earn this 100,000 per year safely. I don't want to just get my dividends. I want performance too. And so you have to tie to the indexes, and also you have to tie to the other asset classes like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, that's where it gets its yield, I think. It's from those treasuries like I showed you in its holdings. It's cheap, just like other Bitcoin holdings and other small caps. Do you think that Bitcoin has room to run further? And even if you're not a Bitcoin fan, which a lot of my subscribers are going to write in and say, hey, they're not fans of Bitcoin. Either am I. You just have to have all the asset classes. You know, Bitcoin is supposed to be an inflation beater too. And even though that did not help in 2022, maybe down the road, Bitcoin can actually be something of a benefit to your portfolio. So I'm just keeping the set amount, the recommended amount, 3%. I'm using BITO because it has both growth and dividends, and it's the largest publicly traded exchange for Bitcoin. If you go to their website here, it shows you, they say here, BITO is the world's largest and most actively traded cryptocurrency ETF. So, again, really thankful for my subscriber who brought this to me, and it's helping me get performance already. It's 100% maintenance, though. One more thing I got to point out. Why don't I buy more of it? Yes, you have to keep it at only 3%. But let me just show you one more thing for BITO. It's 100% maintenance. That means that it sucks up a lot of your equity. That means also it's perceived as risky by your brokerage house. So for 100% maintenance here, as you can see here, 100%. That means for every $1,000 I put in Bitcoin, it takes up 1,000 of my equity. Whereas if I buy Cornerstone, if I buy 1,000 of Cornerstone, like I showed you above, one of my favorite funds, this fund, Cornerstone, it only has 30% equity. So this number here, my account value, that's one thing, but this available withdrawal is my equity number. And that's a very important number because when that gets to 0, I'm in a margin call. And this is the number I use to withdraw out of my account. I can travel the world, spend freely, do whatever I want, buy a house, buy a car, do whatever I want, and live financially free with this margin number, with this margin equity number in my account. So if I live with a high equity number here, I can live financially free. Bitcoin takes up 100%. So if I buy 1,000, that's going to fall by 1,000. But if I buy 1,000 of Cornerstone, as I show you the maintenance for Cornerstone, the maintenance for Cornerstone is 30%. See here, 30%, 30. That means I can buy way more of this asset and get much more leverage on my dividends because it's only 30% maintenance. So you guys really have to understand the power of maintenance. If you need help with understanding maintenance and margin and getting the most out of your brokerage account, again, email me at aikentodd48@gmail.com for my e-guides. I hope you like this video on Bitcoin, on BITO. It's a way to play Bitcoin, but with dividends, because that's what we're about at this channel, for passive income. But it has 100% maintenance. Be careful and only keep it at 3% weightings of your portfolio. If you enjoyed the video, click like and subscribe. Also leave comments in the section below if you have any other ideas on videos you want me to cover, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.